You are a gay conservative creator.
I used to always be called a bad gay. Like all of my friends were like, you're such a bad gay. And I'm like, why? Because this guy is super flaming and I'm like, tone it down a bit. We all know you're gay. The Gen Z gays are wild. Oh my God, they're offended about everything. Imagine living your life in constant pissed off mode. You are so liberal that you sound homophobic and racist, and it's because you actually are.
Do you believe that two people who have different political views can be together?
I mean, it must be like walking on eggshells all the time.
Welcome back to the MBH podcast, Money Buys Happiness. Guys, thank you so much for tapping in. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave 100 comments, okay? Do whatever. Just leave anything. We'll take it, okay? Gonna keep the intro short here. Conservative Ant.
How are you? Thank you. Thanks for having me in beautiful Miami.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy to have you as a guest. I mean, I feel like there's so many good, juicy topics we're gonna get into.
Oh, so many good. Yeah.
I mean, like, I feel like the Trump administration and the news and the mainstream media, they give you like a new story every day.
Yeah, we're never out of content.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's so much content
Just
for
when
you.
we thought we were never out of content with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, it gets better.
Oh, 100%.
It's juicier.
I feel like I was taking a look at your Instagram and I was just dying of laughter. Like, I just die and the comments are so good. But I want to give some people context, okay?
Okay.
You are a gay conservative creator, would you say?
Sure. Commentator.
Sure. And we were talking off camera about how people are so shocked, I feel like, when they hear that. Do you get that reaction right away when people hear that?
Yeah, and so like we were saying off camera, I don't know why.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I don't know why it's such a wild thing to them. I think that going back to when I was uneducated in politics, I was like, just thought I was a liberal. Or a Democrat voter.
Sure.
And then I was like, oh my God, all of the things that I used to complain to my gay friends about back then were actually kind of conservative views.
Fair, okay.
And so I think that when people think conservative or Republican, they automatically go to the religion side of it. They're like, you can't. Republicans don't like gay people. Republicans don't like, well, I never said I was a Republican.
Yeah.
I might vote Republican, but I'm conservative, so there's some type of conservative value that I hold. Being raised Roman Catholic, too, could mean family value, could mean financial and fiscal, could mean a bunch of things. So,
Fair.
Yeah, I'm conservative.
That's a good point. I've never actually really thought of it that way. It's like, I'm conservative doesn't mean I'm Republican.
Exactly.
I haven't heard anyone say that.
Well, I think Donald Trump, one of the most polarizing things about him was he really reshaped the Republican Party because he was not a Republican.
Yes.
He was an independent and he was actually a Democrat because he was in Hollywood for so long. Everyone loved him in Hollywood, right?
Yeah, they did. Oprah, there's the clips of him and Oprah, right?
Yeah, they loved him. Like, why don't you run for president, right? So I think he reshaped the Republican Party because it's not your granddad's Republican Party anymore.
Correct. Yeah.
So conservatives are like, they come in all shapes, sizes, colors, backgrounds. Now, there are some far right,
Of course.
Republicans that are like, no, gay people cannot be part of this. Muslim people can't be a part of this. Well, I'm sorry, honey, you're not the gatekeeper either of conservatism.
Yes.
If you think that, you're never going to win an election.
That's the truth.
If only Christian conservatives are your voting base.
Yes.
So yeah, I think Trump did open our eyes because he was just a normal guy.
Were you a 2016 Trump fan supporter, like from day one? Because those I feel like were the tough days to be a Trump supporter. Was 2016?
Oh yeah, I was a Trump supporter before being a Trump supporter was cool.
Yes,
for sure. I was wearing the red hat before it was cool to wear the red hat. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why sometimes I laugh now because it's become such like an iconic thing to do. And that's fine. A lot of people changed their minds from that 2016 election. No, I was raw dogging that shit since the beginning. And I really think it's because he was so different. And all of the people that they always have running are so washed up, right? It's like, oh my God, fucking Hillary Clinton again? Are you serious? Like, at that time, I was like, give me something else at least.
Yes.
Like, give me someone new. Trump was new.
True. He came out of left field, not a politician previously.
Right.
So it was like, who the hell is this guy? And like, what is he saying? Even if you agreed or disagreed, it was like, what the hell is he talking about? And it kind of just brought, I feel like it was a breath of fresh air to the Republican Party.
Right. And
in
you
that
know,
moment.
when you have like a liberal mentality, you know, my mind automatically, when I thought Donald Trump, I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. A guy that speaks his mind. He's in Hollywood. I'm liberal minded. Like, I like the basic liberal thought process.
Yep.
The sane liberal thought process. Why wouldn't I vote for him? He sounds like my uncle. Like, he sounds like my uncle that I would go to dinner and I would be like, oh my God, dude, I can't believe you just said that. But I love you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I was like, this is a perfect candidate. And then all of a sudden he's homophobic and racist. So I was confused on how that changed.
You know what? It's so true. I feel like, and being Canadian, right? I have no say in the election. I can't vote or anything. But from watching from the outside, I looked and I said, this feels like the first time in my lifetime that there is a politician or a candidate that's actually just saying what he believes. Like, there's no script behind what he's saying. No one like put the script in front of him and he's reading it off a teleprompter. This is like, this guy's speaking from the heart. Like, literally whatever's coming to him, he's saying.
Yeah. And that was what was so great, is because he was speaking just off. I mean, remember Twitter days? Like, he was like, there were some times where even I was like, y'all, somebody come grab your husband. Yeah. You better take that phone away from him. But that's what people wanted. They wanted change. They wanted something different. One of the major things that he said, he's like, what do you have to lose? One of the biggest thing about being in the gay community is the Democrats were always like, we're going to do X, Y, and Z for you guys. And we're like, great. And then we vote for them. And then we're like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, I thought you were like, this is supposed to be the party of like inclusion and unity and doing things. You just came to Pride Parade and then you got our vote and you're gone now.
And you left, yeah.
Right.
You did nothing for our community.
Right. And then you think of Donald Trump and you're like, well, wait a minute. Hollywood parties, everyone wants to get in. He's on The Apprentice. Everyone knows who he is. I mean, if you go to any Trump hotel or apartment complex, the GM probably is gay.
Yeah.
So this guy's got to be cool, right? I
Yeah.
mean, Snoop Dogg was his friend.
Yeah,
So
true.
then tomorrow he's racist and homophobic. Explain this to me.
It never adds up. It feels like it never adds up. I'm actually curious, when you sort of came out Red Hat 2016, what was that like? I guess A, for your family, was your family always conservative? And then B, what was that like for like your gay friends? Did you lose a lot of friends in that
non-existent
moment?
anymore. Okay. No, they're coming back around.
It takes time. It takes time.
Yeah. My family, I guess I can say I'm first generation Italian, born in the States. So my parents came from Italy. You have to think of the Roman Catholic religion and faith, right?
Yeah.
Italy in Europe is based on faith. It's based on religion. So they have more of a conservative value when it comes to your home life, when it comes to marriage, children, the whole nine.
Yeah.
I don't think they realized that they were conservative again until Donald Trump came around. Never voted in an election. They never voted in an election. They voted for Donald Trump all 3 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So that speaks volumes to me.
Yeah.
The gay friends, I used to always be called a bad gay. Like, all of my friends were like, you're such a bad gay. And I'm like, why? Because this guy is super flaming, and I'm like, tone it down a bit. We all know you're gay. And then I was the one who was the mean one but I was doing this 20 years ago, right? Okay. And then when this whole Trump thing happened, they're like, oh my God, you're a sellout, you're a bootlicker, you're this, like all the words that you hear, you're self-hating gay. I'm like, okay, but then in the last, I don't know, then Joe Biden became president in the middle. And then I started seeing him come back around. And they're like, and then when the gay community went off the rails with pronouns, they got super bored during COVID. And they're like, a lamp. And they're like, okay, now I'm a lamp. Yeah. That's when they were like, okay, this is fucking crazy. We never wanted this ever.
I feel like there's like you always hear like there's the old school gays and then the Gen Z gays.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Gen Z gays are wild.
Yeah.
We're the old school ones really are the ones where we're like, we just don't want anybody to bother us. We don't give a shit about what you know. And we used to be rough on each other. We used to call each other all the names that are now apparently you're not allowed to say anymore.
Yeah.
We were calling each other those names then.
Interesting.
And the whole queer word, that was offensive. Like,
really?
To call somebody queer, like, dude, you're such a queer, we would be like, are you serious? And now they're like, I'm a queer.
Yeah, it's like celebrated.
Yeah, and I'm like,
whoa,
this is odd.
Okay.
This is super odd. But you're offended if I don't call you he, they, them, they're this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel like in that community, the Gen Z version of the gay community, and then just the liberals in general, they're always trying to find a way to be offended.
Oh my God, they're offended about everything.
Everything.
They have bags of chips on their shoulders just waiting for them all to crack.
Bags of chips.
They
It's
wake up
amazing.
and they're like, that color's oppressive.
Yes.
I was like, imagine living your life in constant pissed off mode.
Yeah.
And having the wrinkles on your forehead. I can't even imagine. They're facing down.
Go
all
get
the
some
time.
sun, go to the beach, go, yeah.
Touch grass. If it's turf, touch it. If it's a rock, grab it.
That's amazing. I'm curious, when did you start to decide to make content around it now? Because being a Trump supporter and a conservative and like telling your friends and having the conversations at dinner and stuff is one thing, but then going public with it is a completely different thing. I had definitely a smaller version of that. Like I was mentioning off camera, our podcast, we sort of did that in Canada and then toned it down a bit, but like you'd pretty much do it for a living. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now.
Yeah.
But what was that like deciding, like what made you say, you know what, fuck this?
So actually I have just a little backstory. I actually went to broadcasting school at one point.
Okay.
So it was around 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
And they had found out in the process that I was a conservative. And they made my life a living hell.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
So they told me literally if I did not uphold more of a liberal value or if I was a Trump supporter, I would never make it in radio and TV.
But they told you that straight up.
Straight up told me that.
Wow.
Doors will not open for you.
Oh my God.
And I said, well, I won't bend the knee and I'm not going to just fake to be on ABC and CNN. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck
fair.
that.
Yeah, 100%.
So I got through the thing, got through the process, did it. I was in tears some days. You can ask my partner, I was like in tears.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID hit. And I thought the whole podcasting and radio thing, I'm like, I'm never going to make it. Never going to make it. COVID happened. We were living in Chicago. And we kept getting locked down. Yeah. Non-essential workers, extended lockdown. While our own politicians were traveling to Florida and enjoying Florida at their houses, J.B. Pritzker and all of these other Democrat billionaires.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, hold the fuck up. You mean to tell me you just put us on literally an extended 30-day lockdown? You got in your private jet and you went to Florida because it's open. And then while you're in Florida, you're talking shit about Governor DeSantis?
Yeah.
I woke up even more.
It was like, make it make sense.
Correct. What put me over the edge was when my own brother's wedding was canceled several times because of COVID.
Crazy.
Friends couldn't go see their grandparents in the hospital or wherever they were in old people homes. What is the right word for that?
Retirement homes?
No, I think they play bingo
old age
there.
home.
Yeah, old folks' place.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
They couldn't go there and do those things. And then when people died, you couldn't even go to a funeral. Okay, mind you, a funeral, guy's dead. Can't go there because he might get COVID.
Yeah.
Okay, you're telling me. And then I'm saying to myself, this is fucking wild.
Yeah.
So I went on a rant when I saw BLM protesters in the streets of Chicago, shoulder to shoulder, zero fucking masks on, okay? I can't go to the grocery store to buy bread, but this is okay.
Yeah.
I went on a rant, dude.
Yeah.
I fucking lost it on my phone. I started beating the shit on my phone, slammed my hands on the table, woke up the next day, viral.
Yeah.
And my partner Jimmy's like, I think you're back and you need to continue to do that and do the ant rant.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right.
Let's go.
And that was on TikTok because TikTok
TikTok
was the
first.
age of COVID.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
You know, so I kept doing it. And then I realized there was a conservatalk, like a conservative side of TikTok.
Yeah,
It wasn't a
yeah.
kids app only, which I believe that it kind of still is at some points a
It
kid
is.
app.
Yeah.
And I continued.
And at that point, like, was it affecting like work? I guess not really because it was COVID. Like what?
Well, I did work for a corporate in corporate America. I worked for a phone provider.
Okay.
I won't mention their name, but if you guys follow me, you know who they are. I've called them out before. They put us work from home, so they
Okay.
closed all the stores,
Yes.
and then when they wanted us to get vaccinated. And we were working from home. Once again, if you have a brain and you're smart, you're thinking to yourself, that doesn't make sense. I'm literally around nobody.
Yeah.
I've been around nobody. Why do I have to get vaccinated? And I'm not and at the time, I was not an anti-vax person.
Yeah.
Grew up having all the vaccines that
Same.
you normally
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
all the things, right?
Yeah.
I just didn't do flu shot because it used to make me feel like shit.
Yes. Okay.
So I was like, I'm not against this vaccine, but it's like not through the process enough. Like, let me wait on this.
Yeah,
Just
see what
don't
happens.
force me to take it yet.
Yep.
And they were like, when I saw mayors and governors on TV shoving hamburgers down their throat, eating French fries, saying, we're gonna get this for free if you just fucking eat it, and then you're gonna get it. I said, okay. This is out of a fucking horror movie.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this. Am
Yeah.
I allowed to swear here?
Oh, please, please.
I'm
go
not
off.
doing this. I
Yeah.
guess it's a little too late, isn't it?
Yeah.
I said, I'm not doing this. Something doesn't sit well with me. So they sent out an email and said that if you don't get vaccinated by a certain date, you're out. Again, talked about it in my household. I said, what are we going to do? I felt that strongly about it that I said, you know what? I'm going to figure it out. I am not doing this. Here's my resignation. Thank you. And they ended up dropping it months later. They
course.
dropped the mandate.
Which they all did.
Because they were going to lose everybody.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. That happened. I mean, like I was telling you, like we're from Toronto, Canada. Like, so that, like, whatever happened to you guys, like times that by 1,000. Like we were in and out of lockdowns for maybe 2.5 years, almost 3 years.
Yeah, look at Italy.
Yeah.
My cousin's in
There you
Italy.
go. So exactly.
Yeah.
So it was fucking wild. I think that it's funny because I think like I have this conversation all the time where I think that COVID, they tried to do one thing, but it actually backfired. Like it woke up so many people. Like they really tried to like, overreach as much as they could, thinking like, fuck, we really have this in the bag. Like we are going to get anything we want. Like they pushed the limit. And I just think they pushed it like a little too far. Like the whole vaccine thing was like the big.
Yeah, I think they see, here's my theory. If they didn't talk about it like that and they didn't push it that way, I bet you 90% of people
More
would
people
be
would have done
vaccinated.
it, right? If they're like, hey, this is good.
Yeah.
You don't have
it's
to
available
do it.
to you.
Yes.
If you want to do it,
Yes.
here it is. Once you started pushing people into a corner, that's when people started to question it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I might have gotten it.
No,
I
I
might have
agree.
been like, yeah, fuck it.
I
If
agree.
this is something good, then I guess, which I'm actually in hindsight, I'm glad that they did do that so that we woke up.
Yes.
And another great thing that COVID did was it kept everybody home long enough to start doing research.
Their own research.
So then they started to be, the parents started to see inside the kids' classrooms. So they were now in their classroom looking over their shoulder and they're like, you're learning about what?
Yeah.
And so then they started, now parents are coming, so yeah, it opened, I mean, COVID was both bad and good.
Yes.
But I think that it was good in the sense of it really did wake up America and it created a bunch of citizen journalists.
Yeah. Which was like so needed in media. Like you have people don't understand. They're like,
I know.
oh, you listen to that TikToker, you listen to this guy. And I'm like, well, yeah, because they're doing their own fucking research and nobody's paying them and giving them the script. Because
Yeah.
I think there's this interesting thing people don't realize. It's funny. I'm sure you've seen those videos where it's like 150 news channels. They're all saying word for word the exact
yeah.
same thing. Does that not scare people? It's like, wait a minute.
I don't get it.
150, and I'm putting that number, but it's probably thousands of news channels across America, different states, different cities, different counties, and they're all saying word for word the same thing. I'm like, doesn't that scare people? And you think that the journalist who steps into the studio and talks on the camera, he or she, they're not doing any of the research.
Right.
They're given, here's your script for today. It's going to be behind the fucking teleprompter. Say it.
Right.
And people don't realize like journalism from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even 90s, is not what it is today with the mainstream media.
Right.
So like you're saying, the what'd you call them? The citizen
Like citizen journalists,
Journalists
independent journalism.
was
yeah.
like we needed that more than ever. That put pressure, right?
Yes.
And then you had things like obviously Elon Musk buying Twitter, now X, that really shaped things and changed things. So I kind of want to take that and segue into like where we are today.
Yeah.
You posted about it, and I actually saw it hanging off the fucking balcony here, a Trump protest.
I can't.
First of all, I was surprised to see in Florida that there was one, although
Miami,
yeah, obviously still pretty democratic.
I'm actually still surprised because Miami is a lot of Cuban.
Yes.
It does have, and I don't think the Cubans are out there because I've done Libertad. I've stood with them when their own country was fucking them.
Yeah.
They are not Biden supporters.
Yes.
They are mentally more conservative.
Yes, true.
They came here because they know what they came from and they didn't want that here.
That's the biggest piece right there. They know what communism looks like, and they saw under the Biden administration that it was headed in that direction.
Right.
But it was funny because I was with my dad and we were looking over the balcony. He came to visit for a few days, and we were laughing, and we almost couldn't. Like, I was first surprised to see it, although it might have been like maybe 200 people. Like, it was fucking tiny, right? So we were laughing about that, and then from up top here, I did the iPhone zoom in because iPhones can zoom in pretty close.
Oh, yeah.
Just to try to like see like who was there. It's hard to see the people specifically, but it was maybe if there was 200 people there was probably 30 to 40 the trans flags, like the.
And I don't even understand what they're doing there.
So I'm like, wait a minute, is this an anti-Trump rally or is this like a pro-trans rally? Is that the same thing? Like what is this? I was so confused, right?
I don't know.
But I didn't know. I saw you posting about it. I thought it was pretty funny. I'm curious to hear your take on like what these people are even doing.
So overall, from what I understand, is they're mad. What I don't understand, but from what I understand, if that makes sense, is they are protesting Elon Musk and they are protesting Donald Trump for, I guess, tariffs, which are reciprocal tariffs, which we can get into on a whole other show. But they don't even know why they're pissed at him is the problem. They have no fucking idea why they're mad at him. And the fact that they're even mad at Elon Musk for exposing money that you're fucking spending all of your money on that you don't even know, he's exposing that for you. Like, it's no lose for you.
Yes.
Like, you're not even doing shit. He's just saying, hey, you spent money on a giraffe's dick in fucking Uganda. And you're mad about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck is this about?
It's crazy.
And they're like, that's not real. And I'm like, it literally, like, here's what's funny about it is this has been public information for actually ever.
Yes.
And we never really thought to look into it. But Elon's so smart, he might be on the spectrum. That's great.
He definitely is, yeah.
He looked into all this, like, and he might have a team and he might have AI looking into it, but he was like, hey, let's look at this. And now we're being told this is where your money went. And liberals were bitching about things being expensive and not being able to afford rent. And trust me, I know we live in Florida. We were just talking about the cost of living in Florida. And that's not only in Florida, guys. That's everywhere. Unless you're living in a town that has 6 people, you're paying a lot for everything.
Yes.
And we've been paying a lot through the Biden administration. But over the last decade, things have gone up in general. Your money went to all this bullshit.
It was when I was seeing some of the things they were listing off that USAID was spending money on, like transgender studies in Kenya, $500,000, $4 million to teach about ethical foods and I'm like, in the Congo.
Oh, Sesame Street show. and I'm thinking,
like, wait a minute.
And here's my thing. None of these countries give a fuck about us.
No, none.
They really do not give a fuck about us. When the hurricanes happen, when people are stranded here, when all this stuff happens here, you don't hear another country say, here's $4.6 billion, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Hell no!
They actually, I'd make an argument that they hate America.
I agree. Because when you go there, they actually laugh at you and talk shit about you.
Yes.
They're like, y'all are privileged and dumb.
Correct. So it's like, you're helping countries, not even that like don't care about America, that like inherently are almost bred to hate America. But you're sending billions.
And I believe that every country should be their country first.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
I can use Italy as an example because I have family in Italy. My parents came from there. Italia first.
Yeah.
I mean, deal with your people first. Handle what you got to handle first. I don't want your money. We don't need it. We're good. But also, you don't get mine.
Yes.
So,
why is that such a
same
hard
goes
concept?
for Canada. It's
But why is that such a hard concept? That's what I want to understand.
I don't know. And I think it's virtue signaling. I think, I was
Yes,
watching this
true.
liberal chick sitting, and I know she was liberal because you just know the look. You know what I mean? There's not much going on behind the eyes. But they are reading a book, though. So in her mind, people see her sitting on a river reading a book, and she knows people see her, so she's like, I'm doing something. And she thinks that she's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these people they think that by them supporting another country and the horrible things that are going on in another country, they are, by, I guess, association, the better person.
Yes.
They're like, but, I care about trans issues in Uganda.
Yeah.
Well, honey, there's some countries in Africa where women are literally, they're castrating women's vaginas, okay?
Yeah.
They're crying about it because their government is making them do it.
Yes.
Do you care about that?
Yeah.
Did you know about that? Or the women that sit with the BLM signs on the corner of Wabash in downtown Chicago, and they put glitter on the signs, and you see them, and they're in the light, and all the glitter's falling off the BLM sign. They got their Starbucks, and then they live in Westmont in their fucking $4.6 million home with mom and dad, but they're going to a BLM. You know why?
Yeah.
Because they're there and they're like, but look at me. I'm a white girl and I love it. I'm Starbucks and I'm just doing BLM because Black Lives Matter. Well, no shit, bitch. It's 2025. Of course Black Lives Matter. We already knew that. I mean, what are you doing here? Did you want to go clean up the south side of Chicago?
Yes.
No, you don't you?
It's such a good point, and I like the virtue signaling is the big piece. That's kind of the big piece, and it's funny. Like I have so in Toronto, we have these like tents popping up in like these very like prominent parks in downtown Toronto that are supposed to be beautiful, and like taxpayers pay tens of millions of dollars to keep, the city to upkeep. And since COVID, they've been ravaged with like homeless people and like tents everywhere and all that stuff. And all the fucking liberals are running around saying, we stand with our neighbors in tents. I'm talking like signs on the lawn, everything. And so everyone with a fucking brain was like, well, why don't you offer them a room in your house?
Oh, we say that all the time.
Offer them a room in your house. Or even, you know what? Put them up in your backyard.
Right.
Like let them put their tent up in your backyard. You care so much about them.
Beautiful
Oh,
tents.
no, why? No, I can't do that.
Why?
Why not?
But why? Yeah.
Why not,
Right.
right? The virtue signaling is so fucking crazy.
Well, and when you give them the example of the border, right?
Oh.
Okay, and you're like, well, just leave your house unlocked.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine, just leave your house unlocked. No. I have Ring doorbell. I have little sensors on the top of my windows that beep, 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 they go off whenever somebody breaks in. Well, why?
Why?
Why do you have that? You want everybody to come in? That's fine, come in. Yeah. My parents came here.
Yeah.
My grandfather came here, brought all his kids, but they came here the right way. Nobody has any problem with it, okay? But I'll be damned if you guys are gonna get free shit that didn't come here the right way. Well, why don't you fix your country then?
And it's such a good point, and I think it's even like I've always had this thought process because I make the same point as you, where I say, focus on your country first, and give the rest to people who need help. Like take care of your home first, and then help other people.
Right.
But that, in my eyes, like that's why I believe in nationalism. Like focus on your country first, and then help other people with like all your extra, right?
Right.
And the argument that always comes back is, but we have enough. Like we're good enough, things like that. And I'm always like, yeah, but like when you start to live with the mentality of like the way we are right now is fine, you never progress.
Right.
Because you're never focusing on making things better.
Exactly.
Right. And inherently, when you stop looking at how do we progress and make things better here, inherently you start to fall behind and things actually get worse. Right? Because people are like, oh, well, America's great. Like, compare us to like Iran, like the way they have to live in Iran. And I go, yeah, America's better than Iran for sure. 100%. Like, I'm not fucking stupid. But the more that you focus on, well, as long as we're doing better than them, it's fine, you will slowly get worse and things will deteriorate with that mentality.
Exactly.
Right? And so I always try to explain to people, but again, virtue signaling is...
You're making too much sense for them.
Yeah.
It's way too in-depth for them. They're like, no, fascism!
Yes.
And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Like I just care about my country. So that's interesting. But then and maybe you can explain this to me because I'm actually, maybe it's because I'm Canadian. I don't know. I don't understand the swastikas on the Tesla thing. Like,
I don't either.
What is that?
Here's what's wild to me. I never saw somebody say that you're a Nazi, but they're the ones writing all of the swastikas out. I've never heard of that in my life. I was like, I'm looking at these protests. I'm like mortified because I'm like, oh my God, these people have swastikas on their shirts. You literally look like the white supremacist.
Yes, you look like the Nazi.
You're calling people Nazis, but you're literally wearing the thing. The thing. I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen a conservative write a swastika ever. Like, ever.
It's crazy.
It's so crazy to me. And that's actually something that I want to point out is like, imagine being so liberal that you actually sound racist. It happens all the time.
All the time.
You are so liberal that you sound homophobic and racist. And it's because you actually are.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
And they do it when they're like, we've heard Selena Gomez was bawling her eyes out because she thought only Mexicans were the ones that were being deported. And like, then you hear other people say, well, who's going to clean my toilets? And I'm sitting here mortified because I'm like, oh my God, they think all Mexican people clean toilets. Oh my God, this is so racist. That's my mind because I'm like, my cleaning lady's Italian. So like, do they know that there's other cultures that exist that own, like, I know Polish ladies that own, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so it's like,
yes.
I was like, God damn, this is really racist. But they do that because they think that they're reaching an audience. I don't know what, it makes you feel dumb.
Yeah.
Where you're like, do I need a straitjacket?
Yeah, like, am I stupid? Am I crazy?
Correct.
Yeah.
And that goes the same thing with the homophobic thing or people being like bigoted. There's people that are so fucking liberal that they're so racist and bigoted that they'll come up to them like, are you gay? Yeah. And you're like, and I'm like, is this bitch talking to me? And they're like, are you? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. Oh my God, I've always wanted a gay friend. And I'm like, oh my
God.
Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Like that's so fucking, that's bigoted.
Yeah.
Like you just want to be friends with me because, so is there anything else? Like what if I had a shitty personality or I stole your dog? You know what I mean? Is it just because I'm gay? Like,
yeah.
I have a really quick story for you.
Please,
okay. I have a friend
please.
who is an African-American woman and we were at a bar one time and she's conservative. Nobody knows it. Because she just doesn't make it her thing. Like she is conservative, but whatever. Yeah. So she always does her hair so different in different ways, and she had braids one day. And you can tell this liberal woman was liberal because I told you it's behind the eyes. They're all dead. Yeah. And so she went up to her and she instantly went up to her and started grabbing her braids. And she's like, oh my God, your hair is so pretty. Like, what the fuck is this bitch doing? And I was like, why are you touching her braids? She's like, she's just so beautiful. And I'm thinking to myself, you're doing this as a virtual signal. You are so fucking inherently racist that you need her to know that you accept her being black, but nobody else around here even fucking thought it. You're a fucking racist. You're a liberal piece of shit. You came up to her and touched you, and you're lucky you didn't get your fucking ass knocked out. But this is what they do.
It's crazy.
They think they're helping.
Yes.
And all of the allies of the gay community, they fucking ruins the community. Because you are a straight man or a straight woman. We love you. Fine. That's great. You love us. Duh, it's 2025. Let's all get along. But you're like purposely overdoing, like you're like, well, my son is a trans person. And you're like, are you doing this because you want to be friends with trans people? Just say that.
Yeah.
Like, don't make your kid trans.
Yeah, no one cares.
Right.
Yeah.
It's insane, bro.
It's crazy. First of all, that is insane. Like, outside of the liberal, that like, just to walk up to someone and just like touch them, like you just don't do that. Like, I don't know, like, who raised you? Especially
animals. Liberals are raised by animals, just so you know.
Especially someone's hair. Like,
correct.
Oh
and she is beautiful.
Yeah.
She's gorgeous. Why are you touching her?
Yeah, like, to start.
Correct.
And then after that, the whole virtue signaling thing, and it drives me crazy.
You almost feel like you can't even.
I can't really comprehend that story properly because I'm like, you've got to be fucking mental to like think
And they are.
that is normal. And they are. and they are. You know, no, it's crazy. And actually, because you mentioned the whole like, oh, my kid's trans thing. You posted like you had a post that was like super viral. It was like, a couple million views. It was like, you know, this little boy and he's wearing a dress and his mom's like, you know, I let him dress himself. Like he did like whatever he want, you know, and I saw that. And then you had your say on it. And I'm curious to hear your opinion again on it. But I look at it and my first thought process is that kid's not old enough to even think about the clothes he's wearing. If I was 3 years old, like I don't remember much from when I was 3, but what I do remember is I want to play.
Yes.
And that's about it.
And he probably just wanted to play.
Of course.
And I have my own personal stories on that too when I was a little kid.
Okay.
My mom caught me in her nightgown before, and I was jumping on the bed.
Okay.
I didn't wear that nightgown because I wanted to be a girl. I liked that it was flowy.
Yeah.
And I was jumping on a bed, and the fact that it was going up and down, I was like, ew, woo, and you're just jumping on the bed.
Yes.
As a parent, I think that you know, my parents never stopped me from playing with certain toys either. Yes, there were times where I picked up a Barbie and my mom just didn't say a word.
Sure.
She was just like, I mean, he's a kid, whatever. And trucks and G.I. Joes and all these things. But it's another step when you as a parent bring them into the girls section as a boy to purposely buy things, and then that's the only thing he's wearing. And not only is he wearing it in the house, which I actually kind of don't care about. Like whatever, he's a kid. Mm-hmm. It's when you're making him change to a girl to go out in public and then be like, yeah, you can be a girl. Mm-hmm. And now he's going to school like that. Yeah. Where there's definitely like a break where you can be like, okay, honey, like we're going to put boys' pants on because boys wear pants too. Mm-hmm. And we're going to go to school today. Yeah. And you're going to wear pants to school, okay? Yeah. And then when you come home, you could play dress up or whatever you want to get. Sure. That's different because you're not coaching him to just be a full-time girl. Yes. You're then just saying, I accept you're a kid and playing, but we're not going into the world like that. Now, when you're 18 and you pay your own bills, honey. Go off, yeah, do whatever the fuck you want to do. Yeah. Even when you're 16, we can have the conversation like I don't know what. Okay, well, let's have that conversation. Sure. You're not going to cut your tits off right now. Yeah. Well, we're going to wait until you're of age to do that. But yes, let's have that conversation. I think when liberals hear me, they're like, oh my God, he like hates all this. I don't think it's wrong for your kids to be playing like this, but you need to understand that they're kids. Play that way. Yes. This is the real world, though. Yes. So we're going to go out as what you are, and then we'll just take it from there as you get older. No, you raise like a good point. Like it's funny. My mom will tell me stories of like me being a kid. I have an older sister, and I would play with her Barbies. Right. It does when I was 3 or 4 years old. It didn't mean that I wanted to be a female. I couldn't even comprehend what that was. These were just two toys, the same way that little boy might have just thought that this is an article of clothing. Like I'm just having fun, the same way you were, right? But it's correct. It's when they're saying, you know, honey, it's okay to be a girl, or vice versa, you know, to their daughter. It's okay. You're a boy. You can be a boy. Well, you're just blatantly, in my opinion, you're just blatantly lying to them because it's just not possible. And you're creating a whole life of just confusion. Yes. And then to your point, I think that it's if it's actually meant for them, they will get to that age. I feel like 16, you're right, 15, 16. That's a good age. You go into high school and you start to like learn about yourself a little bit, and maybe you might sexually find yourself like sexually, like actually have sex maybe at 16. Like you're at that age where you're like experiencing stuff and going to parties and you're doing the thing, right? And you're finding yourself. I mean, shit, I was 25 before I really found myself. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's a good age. At that point when it starts to happen, I think that's a different conversation. And then you can sit and have the conversation with your son or your daughter and try to, you know, guide them through the questions or the feelings that they're having about themselves. Right. But to a fucking 3-year-old is like, again, another thing where I go, my brain, like my computer, my mental computer just can't comprehend, right? No. But then, like you mentioned,
right back to the virtue signaling. I feel like it always goes back to that.
It really does.
You know?
I think that they feel that they're doing something good, and maybe it's something that was missing in their own life as a parent.
Interesting.
That they think that they need to fulfill through their children. Because a lot, and I'm no fucking psychiatrist by any means. But sometimes you see it with like women that might have father issues, men that have mom issues. They either didn't have either. So maybe they're like, they get involved in women and they fall for them hard because they didn't have So I think it's kind of like that. Maybe they didn't have somebody that accepted all the wild things that they wanted to do growing up. So they feel like to be a good parent. And I'm giving you guys credit here. I'm actually giving them credit.
Yeah, you're trying to help them out here.
Yeah, I'm trying to help them out. Like, maybe there was something in your childhood that you were like, okay, I don't want to do this to my kid. And so inherently you're doing it to like be a good parent, but you're actually ruining their lives because you're trying to you're trying to fix this thing in your childhood. I don't know. You need to talk to somebody, but a 3-year-old is definitely born a boy or a girl.
Yes.
And they need to live their life as such in your house and playing as make-believe. That's fine.
Agreed.
But you shouldn't go out in public and you shouldn't train them to be the other sex just because you want to be an ally.
Keyword, train them. That's the big thing.
You are.
That's the main. No, you're absolutely right. I think we could go for days on that. But I actually want your opinion because this is really relevant right now. I'm sure you saw in the news the two or the kid 17, I think he's 17 years old that got stabbed at the track meet. I
did see that.
Yeah. And obviously very sad story. More stuff is coming out. I feel like day after day we're finding out new things. But obviously it's super viral. It's all over the internet right now. And aside from like the situation that happened, because that's its own thing, something that I saw that was kind of interesting, to say the least, to me, was that the young gentleman who was charged with murder, I think his name is Carmelo, if I'm correct. They've already raised like over $100,000 for him. Like the left, I'll just say the left for now, has raised over $100,000 for him. And I thought that was, like I said, very interesting to say the least.
They made it a black and white thing for sure.
Right away.
100%.
Which always is what the media does right away.
Know.
Right?
I know.
And, obviously there was a George Floyd things and there was all these things that have happened in the past. But like you're talking about 2 17-year-olds. Like you're talking about, I'll still say children. They're not even 18.
Right.
Right? So I saw the media doing that and I just right away, the mainstream media doing that. And right away I was like, classic.
Yeah, so I don't know I didn't get a chance to read that full story. I did see it and I looked at it a little bit. And in my mind, I really hate talking about race issues. I really like, anyone who's followed me, like even with the BLM stuff and the George Floyd stuff, like I really hate to believe that people actually think that something happened because somebody was white or black.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it goes there. Yeah. It goes right to it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even know if the confrontation between the two boys had to do with race. I'm willing to believe it wasn't.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Here's where I think people have the issue on the right is if that were done on the reverse side.
Yeah.
The media would take it and they would say, and they would start burning everything down.
And they would run, yeah.
They would start burning everything down.
Yeah.
So that is the point on the right. On the left, they're doing it as a protection situation because they feel, well, because he's black, you guys are taking this and you're making it a race thing. So we're going to protect everything about him because of what y'all do on the right.
Yeah.
So every issue is constantly fucking divided because... And I really do believe that the media has done it.
Yeah.
Like if somebody doesn't hear me speaking about something, I don't want to bring gas to it. So I'm not like, I'm just not talking about that because either I'm not well versed in it.
Sure.
So there's other content creators that have made the content. I don't know the details of the story and I'm not willing to look into it because it's another race bait situation.
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
And it's stupid. Like if I continue to put life into an issue that has to do with race, y'all are saying that there should be no, like, let's go back to Martin Luther King, right? Martin Luther King was like, no matter your skin color or sexual order, like everybody should be created equal. But we keep on bringing life to racism.
True.
So it's going to continue to happen. And so now we've put everybody in these buckets.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, I'm not talking about that because I didn't even think about that. Like,
Yeah, no, it's a good point. And I think you can even like, I've always made this point too with the race thing is like, I feel like growing up, you know, in elementary school and all that, like we didn't really talk about race at all. Like it was like everyone's equal. That was kind of just the message. Like when I like growing up through, you know, from kindergarten to like, you know, grade 8, grade 9, it was always just, the message was just very clear cut. Mm-hmm. Everyone's equal. And that was it. Like it pretty much ended there. There wasn't like, we didn't really see color.
no.
Right. And then,
And I think I'm even older than you. So it was even like in the 90s.
yeah.
God, I don't even remember like specific color. Like we literally, everybody was out front of someone's house.
Yeah.
It didn't matter who the fuck you were.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't like, oh, that's my black friend.
Never.
You never had to like preface the person with their skin color.
Yeah, no, never.
Right?
Now, I do remember when the media wanted to race bait us again with the O.J. Simpson trial.
Yeah.
I was in like 4th grade at that time, and my mom did keep me home from school when the verdict came out.
Because that was a pretty crazy time in America, right?
It was, because the media was literally pushing the facts that he was being prosecuted because a black man killed a white woman. I think it was pretty much a guy that killed his wife.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, he was dating white women all the time. Like, there's nothing new. Like,
didn't make a difference. Yeah.
But the media raged it, right? So they got black people pissed off because they felt that he wasn't getting a fair shake in the trial, and then the reverse side of it.
Yeah.
So I was in 4th grade. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't even look at it as that. I was just like, oh my God, this guy killed his wife.
Yeah.
Right?
Crazy.
But my parents were adults and they knew, hey, there's like a lot of shit going on right now. And it's not because we agree with it. It's just because it is. And we don't want to send our kid to school today because we don't know what's going to happen after the verdict.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
So they've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
The media's been doing it.
It started, and it's so divisive. Like they're just, that's all they want. I'm like, sometimes I try to sit back and I go like, is this like a part of a bigger plan, or is it just because they know that it's like rage clicks, like that it brings the viewership? Is it a mix of both? Like I always try to wonder, right? And I even had that same thought with COVID. Is this a part of a bigger plan, or is it just like to divide people? Like I always try to have that question, you know?
Yeah,
like,
you're right. I actually have one for you, and we all can learn and get better. A while ago, there was this big debate on American Indians, like Native Americans, indigenous people, and people were constantly like, people were being called colonizers, and I didn't really understand any of it. But I've recently learned a lot more from one of my conservative friends about actual, like, the history of indigenous people and what happened to them and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so my mind changed more, sorry, conservatives, you're not gonna like this one, more towards like, feeling bad for the indigenous people and what they've been through and all this stuff. But we can learn, now I'm kind of like, holy shit, I really want to look deeper into this because they're still not given a fair shake in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So it's like, we can do better and learn about it, but we don't have to rage bait and race bait each other and be like, no, I'm right because I agree with this. Okay. This is what happened. I'm white. And I'm like, I'm Mediterranean. I don't know. I'm kind of tan. I don't know. Well, you're kind of tan too. You have
thanks
Italian
to the jeans.
skin.
Thanks to the jeans. Thanks to a little bit of Florida sun.
Right.
No, but so I'm curious on your opinion then. Like, do you think that there is a time frame of like when we need to like let things go? Because I feel like, you know, I'm gonna say every group, but a lot of groups sort of like tend to latch on to like the bad thing that happened to them. And I think if you go far back enough, you know, whether that's every race, every nationality,
they've all had.
Everyone's had it at some point in history, right? So like, you know, I don't know if there is in your mind like a time frame of like, okay, like just to put a number, after 100 years, like we kind of got to like reparations, or we got to like kind of move on. We can still know and like.
It's history.
Yes, exactly. So we should still know about it and maybe teach it to some extent, but like to maneuver in a certain way in society around certain races or demographics because they went through a hardship 100 years ago, 80 years ago, 400 years ago. Like, you know, I try to wonder, like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we just have to continue to get better and better
for sure
and learn from it. I say it all the time. Like when I hear about the reparations, look, my family came here in the 70s. I mean, we didn't have any slaves here in the United States.
Yes.
My family personally did not.
Yeah.
Okay. Italians went through their own discrimination when they first started coming to this country, where they were changing their last name in fear of either because they might have been Jewish Italian, because they were escaping, you know, what was going on with the Holocaust. There was Italians that were coming here and literally working for 5 cents an hour or a day or whatever it was. We were
essentially slavery.
So yeah, we're literally, that's where greaseball came from.
Yeah.
They literally used to call us greaseballs.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, that wasn't me. I wasn't here for that. You know what I mean? So if I wasn't in that period or era or time period, all I can do is learn from that and be like, well, I'm not going to fucking do that to them.
Yes.
You know, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody owes me shit. I don't owe anybody else shit.
Yeah, I love that take, especially when you didn't go through it.
Right.
And probably your parents didn't either.
Right.
Right? So like in some cases. So it's like we're in a lot of these sort of crazy things that happen in history. In 2025, you might be like 2 generations, 3, sometimes 4, 5 away from the people that went through it. So again, not like we don't forget what happened.
Sure.
We remember and we make sure to continuously get better. But to have to do things like DEI hire because we need to make up for what we did 400 years ago, 600, 800, whatever the number is, like that to me is just craziness.
Yeah, well, they're protesting that too.
Okay,
the
are
whole
they?
DEI,
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because the Trump administration got rid of DEI hiring, like that whole process.
Yes.
Here's how I feel. If somebody hired me just because I was gay and because they had a quota to fill, I would be fucking mortified.
You'd be offended. No,
Yeah,
isn't that
I
kind
would
of offensive?
100% offended. I would be like, wait a minute. So you had to hire 3 gay people, 3.5 gay people. So you hired me, the other guy, that guy, and a midget? Okay. Just because we're gay doesn't mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
I don't even, that wasn't on my resume, but you're gay.
Yeah.
So you're hired. It's wild to me.
Yeah.
Like it should literally be based off of, can you do the job? Do you have the merits to do the job? Have you done it with the experience? All that stuff. So yeah, they're flipping out, dude.
Yeah, it's wild to me. And even like further to that point, I'm actually curious on your thoughts on this. Because I have this debate all the time with people. Do you believe that 2 people who have different political views can be together?
Oh, that's such a... you know, it depends on how extreme they both are.
Okay.
It's sad to say that I don't think I would be able to, unfortunately.
It's not sad, it's just your opinion.
Yeah, I really don't think I would be. Just because we're not going to be on the same page. And I have a couple of followers. I have a lot of followers that are like, hey, my other half is a raging liberal. I don't know what to do. Like, we just don't say anything to each other. I mean, it must be like walking on eggshells all the time.
Yeah, it would drive me crazy.
Now, if you're both pretty like center and you can just have the conversations and bust each other's balls, that takes a really strong relationship.
Agreed.
I just don't think that I would be able to do it. And I'm going to write a book too on straight couples because y'all are crazy, motherfuckers.
Yeah, I would love. I'll read it. I'll read it. No,
I know
it's such a. I agree with you, and the debate that I always the argument that comes up when I have that conversation or that debate is like, well, you can't make like politics everything about you, which I do agree, right? Like just because you lean one way or the other doesn't mean that you don't like a certain sport or certain type of food, whatever genre of music, all these different things. But I feel like depending on which way you lean is also gonna differentiate like what your ethics are and what your morals are. So if you have completely different ethics and morals from your partner, yeah, short term maybe you have the honeymoon phase and you're in love and you're doing all this, but at some point when it's like time to like make real life decisions where like your ethics and morals and values actually matter, how the fuck are you gonna work? Like how is that gonna work?
It's not,
right?
And especially if the woman is the liberal.
Yeah.
You know, they're wild as fuck. I mean, I've seen literally them at protests where the guy is like not saying a word, and it's probably because she made him vote that way.
Yeah.
Like she's making him do this, and he's like, and that's sad. You don't want to, you don't want to live like that. You know. Yeah, no, it's a no for me, dog.
Okay, and how about that same thing with friends? If you have friends that are on the other side of the political spectrum, do you think that's possible?
Not anymore.
Well, especially not for you.
Yeah,
especially
no, I
not for me.
personally, I've held off on blocking or getting rid of people, but they're the ones who snap first. It's like some type of warp. They have some type of rot in their brain, and they'll like eventually be like, and then they'll message you and like, oh, I can't believe that you support. And I'm like, dude, I've never talked to you about politics before.
Yeah.
Why are you DMing me this?
Yeah,
Why are
facts.
you texting me this? Blocked automatically.
Yeah.
We can. That's the difference. As conservatives can be like, you know, Roger down the street, he's a fucking liberal. I can't stand him. But what are you gonna do? You know, I mean, we just don't talk about politics. Roger's gonna flip one day.
Yeah, it's
He
true.
like they literally lose their
They're
fucking
tweaking.
mind.
Yeah, he's like tweaking.
Dude, they need to, paddy wagons all day. We need to bring them all and just get rid of it. I just can't. You know what? I don't know. There's a lot there. To
No,
unpack. I can't be friends with somebody who's a scary, crazy liberal. I can't.
I agree with you.
I tried. I do try.
Okay, and here's another question to that point. Like, it's funny. Like, I'll go to like my girlfriend's family's house, and like we always end up debating politics. Like we always do, right?
Is your girlfriend liberal?
No. Oh, no.
Oh, I was about to leave.
No,
I'm just kidding.
but what tends to happen is like we just debate, and then like, especially like they're Portuguese, so they like to drink. So then like, and I don't drink at all. So then a couple of drinks get flowing, and then people just tend to argue just to argue, right? They're almost like they agree with you, but then they just want to argue the other side, right? And then which like I'll openly do. I love it, but I'm curious, like, what are your thoughts on, and like, why do you think? Because I feel like this is so normal now. Why do you think like politics has become such a normal like dinner conversation? Because again,
It wasn't when we were kids.
Exactly.
Never talked about people.
Same concept where it was like for us, like race wasn't a thing as children. It was just like everyone's normal and we're all just humans and we're here just living. Mm-hmm. Politics, like I can't remember pre-2020, like sitting at a table really discussing politics in a heavy manner, and that being always like the go-to conversation.
Yeah, it's so wild, dude, because you can literally tell who somebody voted for now.
Yeah, it's so easy. It's so simple.
And I mean, there's literally guys that are going on the street and they're like, who do you think they voted for, Trump or Biden? You know, like you can literally, like I can be walking down the street and I'm like I know who someone voted for because we just know, like each side has their look.
Yeah.
And then the people who you're like questionable on, you're like, I bet you they silently voted for Trump. You know what I mean?
You're like, I know what you were up to.
Yeah. Now, there's those rare situations. I have many friends who are like tattooed, hot chicks, like gothic, you know, and they voted for Trump. And nobody would ever think that because, of course, those situations happen.
Yeah,
you know?
they're scared to like say it.
Yeah, well, they just, because it's so toxic.
Yes.
But for the most part, if I'm walking down the street and someone's got like a shirt that has some type of flag here, I'm like, conservative.
Yeah.
If they got a liberty tattoo or some type of flag, conservative.
Yeah.
If she looks like she's mad and she's running down the street and she looks a mess, probably liberal.
Yeah.
Because she thinks she's making a statement.
Yeah.
But really she smells like a bag of trash. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I hear you. And I think
Yeah.
all of those things were, again, very heightened by the media. Like they wanted that divisiveness. And then you had households that all of a sudden, maybe the husband was leaning a little more conservative, the wife was a little more liberal. But then it was just like, because it was so in our face and is in our face so much, that these started to become like conversations that were normal to have. And I think it destroyed some households for sure.
Oh, 100%. I know people who've got broken up. Yeah,
which is obviously sad. But I mean, hey, I guess, is that natural selection? Like, you know, is that natural selection? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's people that they're like, what do I do? Like I've had a gay friend for 30 plus years and he's been my friend forever. And now he thinks that I don't like him because I voted for Trump. They're the problem.
Yeah,
the gay person's the problem. Yeah. Like they really don't realize that Trump literally just hired 2 gay cabinet members to work for the administration. He hired Rick Grinnell his first term, who's an openly gay man. He did it because he was qualified, though, not because he was gay. Okay,
simple.
He has gays and lesbians working. darn it, he had gay people just got married at Mar-a-Lago not too long ago.
Yeah.
A whole gay ass wedding at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
I mean, Eric Trump has officiated gay weddings before.
Yeah. Crazy.
They don't want to know that. They would rather it be that they don't know that and that Trump is getting away with all of our rights. And this is my backdrop. No rights have been gone.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, if they don't want to be friends with you, honey, I'm sorry to tell you, it's probably a good thing. Like because you didn't change as a person.
Yeah.
Just because I voted for somebody and you've been friends with me for 30 years, we've laughed, we've cried, we've fucking pissed the beds, we've done all this shit. Do you think that I'm different? Because that's a you problem.
It's a you problem. Yeah. I feel like a lot of their issues are just you problems.
They have a lot of you problems. They
Most
really
of them.
do.
Okay, I have one actually question because I actually just posted a reel about this a couple hours ago and it has people furious, okay?
I love that.
You mentioned, me too, it's my favorite thing to do, piss people off. You posted about your weight loss journey. I think you're on a podcast talking about it.
Yeah.
I had one pretty recently. I had like 6 months ago, roughly. I kind of just like was sick and tired of like the way that I looked. I was, I'm 5'9", 5'10" on a good day. And I was 205. I try to say 5'10".
Oh, yeah.
And I was 205. And then over 6 months, I lost just over 20 pounds. And like,
awesome.
I'm very like proud of what I've done. It's a lot of hard work, as I'm sure you know. And you gain confidence, all these things. And so I've been talking about it a lot recently, and I know you were speaking about it as well. But I have this saying, and it really pisses people off. And I tell people that I don't trust fat people. Okay, I know that it's a very tough thing to say, and I'll explain why. And I always tell people I have to premise it because I find that. And by the way, when I say that, I also said that I wouldn't have trusted myself 6 months ago, right? Correct. And when I say trust, obviously it's a very blanket term, but trust in terms of like to make important decisions, because the Anthony that I was 6 months ago was not confident, was not thinking straight, was not seeing straight, and the decisions that I maybe made 6 months ago were completely different than the ones that I would make today
100%.
As someone who has like focused on my life, cared about everything, and like really dialed in. So that term pisses a lot of people off because the way that I explain it is, if you can't at least take care of yourself, like health-wise, like I don't trust you to make good decisions. If you're okay with waking up every morning and lying to yourself, right? That like, oh, I'm fine, I'm healthy, then like, what's stopping you from lying to me? If it's that easy to lie to yourself,
that's a really great point.
How easy is it to lie to me? So I'm not saying that I would never, go to dinner or be friends with someone.
Oh, they'll go to dinner with you for sure.
You know what I mean? But like when I say trust, I'm speaking more of like really serious decisions I have to make in my life. I'm sorry, that's my opinion because I internalized it. I looked at myself 6 months ago in comparison to today, and like if I'm standing in front of myself 6 months ago and I'm looking at him and I'm looking at the Anthony from today, I'm going with this guy 100%. He's confident. He's thinking straight. He cares about the way he looks and feels, his health. Right. I'm trusting him all day.
Yeah, so I'll agree with you because I wouldn't have trusted myself. So I lost about 100 pounds.
Come on.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Probably a year and a half, I would say. Yeah, a year and a half.
Whoa. Okay, break that down. What sparked that? That's insane.
It was literally, you talk about confidence. I was always, and now I started, people started recognizing me when I was out. And so pictures were being taken. I was never comfortable. It was so hot. I was bothered all the time. Couldn't even tie my shoe. And I met this couple at an event, and both the husband and wife were like super fit and gorgeous. And they're like, you're such a good looking guy. Let me know if you want to talk about losing some of that weight. You would be even better. And I was like, yeah, because I was like 255 pounds. I'm 5'8", 5'9" on a good day.
There you go.
And I was like, yeah, I'm ready. And it had to do with getting your blood work done and hone in on what needs to get done and sticking to it. Of course, listen, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I did Manjaro for the first 3 months, but I didn't just do Manjaro. I also did intermittent fasting and changed my complete diet. And it wasn't just shit food when I intermittent fast. It was clean food. And then it was working out. And then it was, I went and got my testosterone levels Found out, guess what? They're in the trash.
Wow.
Lowest testosterone levels you can think of,
Wow.
which is stopping my metabolism,
Yep.
which is making me lethargic. Your libido's low, all this stuff. So I got put on some testosterone replacement.
Yep.
That helped. So I was doing all the things all at once, and it was like boom, boom. It was, I mean, when I tell you in 6 months it dropped so quick,
Yeah.
and I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
I didn't tell anybody I was going through this. And then once it was like 2 months, 3 months, people were like, hold on, dude, are you losing weight?
Yeah, what's going on here?
Yeah. And then I was like, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
But it does. I wouldn't have trusted myself when I was fat because I was obviously making poor decisions. I was lying to myself. So why the fuck wouldn't I lie to you?
Yes.
And it wasn't about big lies. I'm
Yeah.
talking about whatever it could be.
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't want to do anything. You know, I just... So, I get it. It sounds pretty harsh when you say that to people.
It is harsh.
But now I find myself looking at people that are, and it's wrong. But at the same time, you know, I see these mukbang.
Oh my God. Oh my
not
God. They
mukbang.
drive me crazy. Mukbang.
Mukbang. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yeah, it's gross.
and I watch it to remind myself
Yeah.
that I'm not going to do that. And I'm like, oh my God, like they're like 400 pounds in there, but I can't stop watching it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what are you doing?
Okay, and here's the big piece of that, right? And like, so now, like, all of the comments of like people who are like kind of hating on me saying that, they're all like, "Oh, buddy went to the gym for 6 months and now he thinks he's this and now he thinks he's
Oh,
that."
of course you're going to get that.
And I'm like, okay, this is where people are so backwards. I'm coming here and I'm telling you how incredible my journey was and how much better I feel, and I'm trying to push people to do the same thing because I've seen how amazing and incredible, you know, and how much your life can change just in 6 months.
Right.
Confidence, health, I sleep better, I think more, I work more, you know.
Everything.
So, and people think like I'm the enemy because I'm saying it in a very harsh way. No. The enemy is the person that tells you you're okay the way you are. Who doesn't
They're
push,
lying to you.
who-
Yeah.
exactly. Who doesn't push you to be better, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's again, I not to bring it back to like now left, right, but I always find it's the fucking liberals. Everybody that's in my comments saying like, you're an asshole, you're this,
Yeah,
you're
they
that.
can't go to
I'm
comedy
like,
shows
fucking-
either.
Yeah. well,
Yeah, no.
yeah. You know, pride flag, you know.
Yeah, he, him.
Yeah, fuck,
Yeah,
I'm like,
heard
oh my
this,
God,
that,
I'm
and the
gonna-
other. Yeah, they can't go to comedy shows. I started doing that.
Oh, you started doing stand-up?
Well, I'm starting to host different stand-up shows.
Nice, okay.
And, you know, it's the raunchy side of Ant that people don't see online all the time. Well,
Nice.
that side will, you know, talk about nasty things. And that's what comedy is.
Yeah.
You know, I got dark humor.
Yeah.
And it's always the fat liberal bitch that's mad. I mean, it is what it is. Be mad. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why
always
you're
the fat
angry.
little
You're
bitches.
angry all the time.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Anthony, before we end, okay?
Yeah.
I have a famous question that we ask
Okay.
all our guests. Actually, I'm going to ask you 2 questions because, so first thing, before we get to our famous question, we ask our guests to manifest something for themselves on the show, okay? So it could be a goal for yourself personally, it could be for your family, it could be for your business, anything, okay? Think about something, let's say in 5 years' time, that you want to come true for yourself, okay? Because the idea is, hopefully in 5 years' time, we can come back, clip it, and say, well, he said it
Ooh,
here.
I like that.
Okay, so
Okay.
is there anything, and be very specific, okay? Because that's
Yeah.
the key to manifestation.
Okay.
Be very specific. Is there anything, like I said, for yourself, your family, your business, anything you want for yourself in 5 years that is going to come true?
Yeah, I would like to see in 5 years for me to have my own successful show
Okay?
and have many different opportunities that come from that, whether it be TV, movies, but
Okay?
in the conservative realm.
Yes.
In this new parallel universe of conservatism,
Yeah.
I would like to be one of the guys, like
Yeah.
one of the,
Yeah.
not Hollywood. I hate to say Hollywood.
Yeah, but I did the term. I know what you're
Since
saying.
I was a little boy, I always watched like red carpets and stuff, and I was like, I want to like be asking them.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to do that,
Yep.
but for conservatives.
Listen, I think you're already on the path. It's not far from where you currently are.
Right? I could.
Okay, 5 years. I think it's gonna happen faster than 5 years, but
Shit.
we'll get 5 years. We'll stamp it 5 years and come back to it. Okay, outside of that, obviously the famous question. Okay, we are the MBH podcast, Money Buys Happiness. So, Ant, I want to know if you believe money buys happiness.
I believe it sure does make it a lot fucking easier when you have money, yes. I think that money definitely helps you live a better life with your mental health, your confidence, being able to just be comfortable in every day, Yes, I also think that if you have money, it's because you motivated yourself to get there. And that goes back to not being lazy, to having confidence in yourself, knowing your worth, knowing you can fucking do it. And so once you have money, it's because of all the steps you took to get there.
Yes.
And nobody else is going to get you that money, honey, besides you.
That's a fact. I always say I've heard 300 plus people, all their answers. And what I've kind of concluded is it's kind of a two-pronged thing. One side is how you make your money. So do you enjoy it? So I'm sure you enjoy the money you make today more than your fucking corporate job who is trying to force vaccinate you at home.
Of course.
And then the other side of it is what you do with the money. Go to fucking Italy with your partner, doing this, doing that. So I think if you like the way you make your money, you enjoy it. And on the other side, you do good things with it, things that make you happy. Inherently, it can help buy some happiness for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Those two things.
I agree.
And thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And guys, if you made it this far, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you think. All of Ant's socials will be in the description. You'll see all the content, stuff like that. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you. I had fun.